Hello and welcome to a tale of two Mazda MX-5s. This is the first kind of head-to-head video I've ever done on the dyno with two cars to see which one's going to win. It's a pointless test really, because this one should win. Because what we've got is a 2009 Mazda MX-5 2-litre Sport here in black. Looks quite nice. That is bog standard. That is Billy Basic. That is as it left the factory in Japan. This one, not so much. This is still a Mazda MX-5 2-litre Sport, although this is a 2006 model, but as far as I can tell, that makes no difference to the power. They're both supposed to be 160 horsepower standard, but I think this one is going to produce a little bit more, and that's because this particular car has a couple of small modifications. Now, it's nothing major. You see MX-5s out there with turbo kits, you see MX-5s out there with V6 engines out of Jags fitted and things. Nothing like that. This is a 2-litre Sport, but it has a cold air feed induction kit, a 421 stainless manifold. It's been remapped so it goes pop and bang yo, and also gives it more power. That's probably why it's been remapped. Yeah, and it's got a louder exhaust, which as far as I can tell just makes it sound louder. I don't actually think it's a performance exhaust. I think it's just literally the back end. It's also lowered. It's on teen coilovers, I think. That's not going to make any difference to the rolling road, but it does look pretty cool. This is a customer's car. I've probably known the car for 7 years. I really like this car. This car killed off my TVRS. I used to have a TVRS 1 and an S2. This car killed that off simply because when this car came in for the first time and I serviced it and I drove it for the first time, I thought to myself, why have I got a TVRS? It was just immeasurably better in every way. It was more fun. It was better around corners. It was faster. It was more comfortable. It was easier to drive. It looks as good, I would say. I think maybe because it's lowered and everything, I think it kind of, to me personally, the S is a classic. Admittedly, you can't really compare them, but the fact was that this was cheaper than an S. So I thought to myself, why have I got an S? And I sold it. This particular car is owned by an esteemed motoring journalist, the very esteemed motoring journalist who owned the white Peugeot 106 Rally that came on here and did very well. Now, he went away very happy that day because he went away with about 10 horsepower more than he was supposed to, which is not due to him. It's actually due to the fact that most TU engine Peugeots and Citroens seem to overproduce. They seem to be underquoted from the factory. A lot of cars are overquoted from the factory and they underproduce on the dyno. The MX-5 is kind of somewhere in the middle. They pretty much, well, every MX-5 I've ever put on here tends to do what it's meant to do. I've had Mark 1s on here, 1.6s do about 115 horsepower. They were there or thereabouts. Had a later Mark 1, I think it was a 1.8. That did 120, it's on the website. The link's in the description, but I think it was 126 or something like that. They are where they're supposed to be, and the power graphs are always really good, and as much as people might not want to hear it, these are brilliant little cars. They are fantastically engineered. Mazda absolutely nailed it with the first one and the second one and the third one. I don't know about the fourth one, but they look quite cool. They're just really good. they just do what they're supposed to do. So these cars are both supposed to have 160 horsepower and they both use the same engine. So the best thing to do is look at that engine before we go making spinny loud noises. So under the bonnet of both of these cars, 2-litre inline 4, double overhead cam, variable valve timing, basically the same engine that went into the Mazda 3 Sport that we had on the dyno a little while ago, the one that was kind of neglected. Well, that car did quite well on the dyno. So, yeah, basically, I think it's pretty similar to the engine that went in the Fiesta ST 150. Now, these are rated at 160 horsepower out the box, and as I'm looking at them now, they look pretty similar. Yes, they are indeed the same. But there are some key differences. As you can see, this one has an airbox. This one does not. This one has a standard manifold. This one does not. This one has a remap. This one does not, but you can't see that, so you're going to have to take my word for it. In terms of which manifold, which induction kit, and which remap is this, I don't know. The lady who owns it is on holiday at the moment. She is going to sort me out with deets when she gets back. So by the time this video goes live, I'll either overlay them on the screen, which is a bit more effort, or just write them in the comments or in the description below. Other than that, they're pretty much the same. I think this one's done about 97,000 miles, 78, I think, on this one, the slightly newer standard car. Well, let's do it. Let's find out. That's what you're all here for. How much more power, if any, does this car have with its little modifications? How much power can you go and brag about in the pub that you've got over your mate with an MX-5 because you've got similar mods to this? Well, you'd have to have the same mods as this to brag this, otherwise it wouldn't, you know. Or all the standard ones show that you shouldn't muck about with cars. You should leave them as they are. The manufacturer, the engineers at the manufacturer, they know better. There is only one way to find out, to dyno them. I thought that was odd. Yeah. Let's have a look and see where we are. Run 1, standard MX-5. Oh! It is his effect. It is him. He is him. Wow. That's pretty impressive. To be honest, it did feel pretty good. This happens quite a lot. This is not an uncommon thing. There's this myth that cars lose power over time. I mean, they do if they wear out. That's the whole thing. This hasn't worn out. That is a really good graph. Although that's a bit of a... Oh no, hang on. No, in fairness, I was going to say, is that an anomaly at the top? But if you take that kind of... that line there, it's actually flat spotting a little bit there. 168, so 160 standard. But yeah, I mean, that's quite a nicely running car in good health. That happens. So I'll be intrigued to know what happens with that one, because that feels pretty leery on the road. Right, well let's give it 2 more runs, and then see where we end up. Well, that's done for the standard car. So 168 was the best. The next 2 I did, 167, 166. It's just getting hotter, basically. So yeah, we're on that magic kind of tipping point of hot enough that the engine is nice and free spinning, but not so hot that it's got a little bit tight. I think it's starting to get a little bit warm. So we've probably topped out at 168. So I think it's time to see what the modified car is going to do. Like I say, 4-branch manifold, remap, cold air intake, the induction kit, the cone filter. It sits right in front of the radiator there. Whoa, that was a close up, wasn't it? Right in front of the radiator, so it's going to get everything that fan has to throw at it, which, to be fair, is ambient temperature. It's quite hot and muggy and sticky. My guess, well, if this one's 168, that's going to be what? Well, I've not driven this, admittedly, but 175? Maybe? What do you think? Put it in the comments. It's good for the algorithm. There's something I have just noticed on when I've overlaid the graphs. I don't know whether to deduct something. Because observe this, okay? So green and red are pretty similar. Those are the 2 highest runs because they get to here. This is going to be VVT related, isn't it? They get to about there and then they tail off and they run under a little bit. And they get right to the top, and they suddenly kick up and peak a little unnaturally. You would not expect that at near 7,000 RPM on a standard car. The only thing I can think of that could make a difference is, and I'm going to let you into a little background here, when the car rocked up, the owner of the car, who isn't taking it seriously, clearly, he had the aircon switched off. He had the fan on cold. The heat was set to cold. He had the fan blowing, but the aircon was off, so all it was doing was blowing muggy air at you. He blatantly turned it off when he pulled up. When I went to move the car in, I switched it on because it's muggy and aircon is a wonderful thing. I did the first 2 runs in error with the aircon on. we got higher numbers, but a squirrely graph. A slightly squirrely graph, it's not that bad, but slightly squirrely. The third run, I remembered and thought, oh shit, I better turn the aircon off. Turn the aircon off, we've got a perfect graph, but 1 horsepower less. Is it aircon? Is it the aircon map? Is it screwing with the VVT or something? I might have to do another video on this. I am going to award the MX-5 166. Now, I'm not diddling it out of power here. I'm going to say 166 because something isn't right now. Now, this could be something to do with the aircon. This could be something to do with a VVT. You know, part of the VVT system might have an error. It could have a glitch. It could have a problem. So this is not what it's supposed to do. So as a result, that there isn't really what it's supposed to do. The black line is clearly what it's supposed to do. That is a perfect almost graph. Let's get rid of the other two. You can see how good it is. Well, that's gone well. Right, so now the computer's had its duck fit. So that's the graph we've been left with, a standard car. Naturally aspirate. That's absolutely beautiful. That's so good. Yeah, I'm going to go 166. The aircon run, there's some kind of anomaly with that, and I'm going to start confusing myself and all the viewers of the video. So it's now time to remove this lovely black MX-5 and put on a silver MX-5, which is louder. Round 2, we now have the modified MX-5 on the dyno, or the lightly modified MX-5 on the dyno. I can't get the old aircon thing out of my head now. That's completely thrown me, because all the cars I've done, of all the cars I've ever done on this, and I've done many, modern cars don't tend to be affected by aircon. Older cars, yeah, 100%, you can lose quite a bit of power with aircon on. Modern cars, not so much. Well, speaking to the guy who owns the car, he's gone now because he has places to be. But the top of the graph, where it suddenly kicked up, I think that might be where the compressor is cutting out. The ECU is directing the compressor to cut out at certain revs because it's probably not designed to spin that fast. And apparently Hondas do that. They're quite known for that because they rev so high. So it'll be interesting to see with this car, if we do exactly the same thing again, 2 runs with aircon on and then 1 with it off, and we'll take an average from all 3, those will be the numbers that we compare with. Those will be the numbers that we actually, like, say which one won. But in terms of the answer with the air conditioning, well, it'd be interesting to see if this car does the same kind of thing. Now, this car has been remapped. I imagine it hasn't affected anything in that line of sort of componentry. You know, hope the aircon isn't forced to stay on this because they haven't got that cut out in it. I don't know. I don't know what map it is, as I say. If I find out, I'll put it in the comments or in the description or in the video. Right, so enough of that. This is supposed to be a quick video, and now it's turned into some huge, great big, like, test. Right, so run 1, we're going to do this one with the aircon on. If it's like the black MX-5 before it, it will give us its highest number. And then we'll do, as I say, another run and another run after that. The third one, I'll turn the aircon off, and we'll see if the patterns change. We'll take some average numbers from them and see if the patterns change. Right, let's make some noise. Power, let's make some power. It's a noisy bugger, that one. Right, so we're comparing this with the 168 run from the black car. Oh, okay. Well, there's good and there's bad. Okay, that's quite a squirrely graph. The numbers are better. I thought 175, didn't I? Look, that's a healthy increase. 174. And 153 pound-foot at 3.5. I think on the other one it was at 4.2. I'll overlay them later. But the graph is pretty horrible. But it is also probably still warming up slightly. So that should have warmed it up. Let's give it a proper run. so I've stopped it after the second run here because we've got a change in behaviour from the first one already. So we've gained power already, 175.8. The graph is smoothing off. But I noticed this sudden and I also hit the limiter there, which took me to, I was about 7.3, I think that was. Yeah, so I'm noticing a kadoosh. Who is this knob? Someone is playing shit music loudly. I'm thinking that is the aircon default in the ECU. So you notice how it goes squirrely here? I think that's the aircon. So now what I'm going to do is a third run with no aircon, which means I'm going to sweat for you, for the cause. And we'll compare that to the third run on the black car, which was its nicest run. Although it was its lowest number, it was its nicest run. Because this is quite smooth. This is about the point the aircon cuts in on the other car. I can't figure out why it's so smooth here with the aircon on or off, why it makes no difference. You'd think with less power and less revs, the aircon cutting in would sap more from it. So there must be some kind of intelligent management. Obviously, the ECU is probably, oh, I always get this mixed up. Is it closed loop or open loop when it's running off lambdas? So it could be that it's fine tuning here more. And when it gets past 3.5, it just goes, well, like aircon or power, one or the other. I think that there, the squirreliness, is the aircon. So my prediction is now that we'll hit similar numbers. I don't think it's going to get much higher than 175. I think that is correct, but I think this will smooth out with the aircon off, if I've like read everything that's happened so far correctly. So let's find out. Right, now if my Spidey sensors are correct, I think what's going to happen on here, and I haven't looked at it yet, it's still on the main screen. I think what's going to happen is it's going to be about 175, 174, 175, but with a smoother graph. That's what I reckon is going to happen. I don't think it's going to go any higher at the top end than 175. I think it's kind of going up, and then the rev limiter has been raised with this remap over a standard car, but it's not necessarily pulling any more power. Well, it's basically going, it's pulling up as high as a standard car pulls, but then it's maintaining it to its new limiter. Whereas normally if you raise the limiter on a car without doing anything else, it just dies off again. So it's not doing that. So far, the first time I saw that graph, I thought, oh God, this is not a good remap. But I think it was just the car was still kind of warming up a little bit, and its fueling wasn't quite optimized. And the second run was a lot better. So let's see if the aircon improved it. Right, so the moment of truth. Are we ready? I personally, as I say, I think it's going to be, I don't think the numbers are going to be any higher, but the graph should be smoother. Ready? Okay. I'm kind of right, kind of wrong. So it is smoother, but not massively so. But this is the equivalent of the 166 on the black car. So we've got 174. 155 pound-foot of 3.8, that's healthy. So with the aircon off, there's definitely an improvement. It's not quite happy there. Could just be a mapping thing. Let's overlay it with the black car then, let's see where we are. And so here we are, the difference between the black car and the red car. The black car is the red line. Yeah, I've not thought that one through. So they're very similar up to here. And then when you get to 3,000, the remap car goes off. Now the remap car should continue this, but for some reason it has a fart here at about 4,500. And then it suddenly wakes up again, remembers it's a remapped car and carries on. Though if it weren't for the fart, that would actually be pretty good because you're getting, I'm guessing this is a manipulation of the VVT, because you're getting a kick here. So you've got a nice kick at 3,000. If it weren't for that ruining it, I don't know what's causing that. There's all sorts that could be. I mean, the car's in good health. It's well serviced. It's, you know, it runs really, really happily. So if there is something causing that, it could, you know, how old's the fuel that's in it? I don't know. Or what fuel's in it? It could be something as silly as that, but all the sensors and things are reading properly. It runs really nicely. So we're looking at £155 versus 147 at 4.2, 155 at 3.8. So it has gained torque and moved it lower down, although it is a lump. Again, it's this hiccup, because that's what's caused that, basically. If that hiccup weren't there, this would be a good remap. And it probably is a good remap. It's probably, there's some issues somewhere with the car. I might give it one more chance just to see if that kink goes away, but I don't think it will. I don't know why it's doing that. So we've got 174.8 at 6.6. Now that's interesting. The remapped car peaks at 6.6. The standard car, 6.8. Higher. Because the standard car is still kind of going before the limiter cuts in. The remap car isn't necessarily gaining anymore. It's already peaked here, and he's just trying to hang on to it before the limiter cuts in. Yeah, there you go. That is the difference between those two cars. So if I do the average figures from all three with the aircon on and the aircon off, it would come out something like this. So there we go. The modified car made more power. Shocker. Well, no, it's not quite as straightforward as that, because I've had a lot of modified cars on this dyno over the years, and a lot of them are worse. A lot of them end up worse than the standard car. Now, the standard car was in really good health, and we can see that. Really good result. This one has effectively gained, if we're taking averages into account, probably 8, 9, 10 horsepower over standard, and a useful addition of torque, and it's moved it a little bit lower down. So the remap itself is probably quite a good one. Something causing that bum bit in the middle, that's really annoying. That little fart in the middle, little flat spot. I can't imagine that's part of the remap, unless they've engineered it in to make it feel like it's got a kick halfway up the rev range. I've seen these things. And as far as the aircon goes, I've done the run with the aircon on and with the aircon off, because people drive with the aircon on a lot. The reality is the peak figure the car is making is the same whether the aircon is on or off. That's basically what this comes down to. Whether the aircon is on or the aircon is off, the peak number on an MX-5 is the same, because the ECU deactivates the aircon at a certain engine speed. So, however, torque on the way up, power on the way up, if you're looking for throttle response and torque and power in the mid-range, building up to where the top end is, turn the aircon off, because you are losing power. That's it, you can go now.